All right, hello, what's up? We have the latest chapter of One Piece. This is pretty late because I was in Japan. Look forward to some videos about that. While I was in Japan, I had this spoiled for me almost on two occasions on the same day, the day after the magazine actually came out physically in stores. I was in a 7-Eleven and I saw a businessman looking guy reading Weekly Shonen Jump, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, he was just kind of standing there flipping through it in the store before he bought it, or maybe he wasn't going to buy it, whatever. And I was like, oh, I wonder what he's reading. So I made an excuse to walk behind him. I glanced over. He's reading One Piece. And I was like, oh, geez, spoilers, spoilers. You know, I was saving the chapter for when I got home so I could make a video. I didn't want to know. I wanted to be able to react organically. So I'm not entirely sure of what I saw. I assume if you're watching this, you've already seen the chapter, so I'm not going to be able to spoil you by speculating. But I feel like I saw Doflamingo in Impel Down talking to Magellan or something, which is crazy. But you know, we're in a phase of One Piece where really anything could happen at any time. The story could bounce around to any other location. It could be showing people's reactions to Vegapunk's news, for example. And then I was on the subway a little bit later in the same day. It was very crowded. It was the rush hour of people coming home from work, and I see a guy practicing English on his phone on this app. You know, I sound like such a snoop, but I just glanced over, and I was like, oh, that's like an English learning app. That's kind of interesting because I have Japanese learning apps, so this is like the opposite. So I kind of like watched him do that for a little bit. Just the way we were standing, I couldn't really look anywhere else. And then I see him close that and open like a Shonen Jump app. And I was like, no way. He scrolls down to One Piece and loads it up. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get attacked by it again. The Viz app, the official Viz Shonen Jump reading app, it's got some issues. Sometimes it'll just fail to load chapters. I ran into this a lot because I've been reading through all these different series, and I was doing it a lot in Japan and stuff too. Uh, and the Japanese equivalent app seems to have the same problems. He kept just like closing it and restarting it, and it wouldn't load. And I saw him check his internet status, and eventually he just gave up and just put his phone away. And I was like, oh, phew. So it's been a little bit of a war zone trying to avoid spoilers for this, but we got there. Let's check it out. Chapter 1114, The Wings of Icarus, 1114. We're continuing Yamato's journey around Wano, emulating his idol Odin, who famously explored the whole country like this. Go enshrine the sword at Hakumai Shrines in Yasui's stead. That is your surrogate pilgrimage. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. That's, of course, where Zoro was, right? And he met the swordsmiths and got lashed out at for having Enma. This is, of course, Kinemon, our buddy. Haven't seen him in a while. It's good he's doing good. I'm sure at some point in the final climactic ultimate battle, the people of Wano might get involved again. Yamato especially, I expect to see out at sea at some point as he continues to emulate Odin's life. Okay, last chapter, ending with a big bombshell. Vegapunk telling the world that it is sinking, that the sea will soon engulf all of the land. Well, maybe not soon, but, you know, is in the process of doing so. I realized that this was actually foreshadowed more than I thought. There's the scene where Luftazia, or whatever it's called, gets vaporized off the map with the world government's secret ancient weapon that they use the Mother Flame to power. And I forgot, at that time, they mention how the entire water level of the world rose imperceptibly by like an inch as a result of that. Which I thought was really interesting at the time, but it seemed to be more just kind of like a poetic, tragic thing. Oh, this entire country, these people, their heritage, their history, all these families, wiped off the map, and, you know, the rest of the world, living in darkness, living in ignorance of these abominations, didn't even notice the water level rise in response. You know, something like that. I thought it just kind of was like a poetic image like that. But no, it's actually maybe the exact cause of this problem of the entire world sinking. So I don't know. And then of course there was Water 7 was sinking into the ocean, but I thought that was just because it's like an artificial city that was built and floating and like a Venice reference. So I didn't really think of that much either. Like I didn't connect those dots. Let me check my Discord messages quick, make sure it's not urgent. Alright, sweet, good. Okay, let's plunge in. Let's see what the world's reaction is. Also, this chapter title, The Wings of Icarus. Of course, the story of Icarus is that he and his father Daedalus were trapped in the labyrinth, and Daedalus crafted Icarus a pair of wings with which to escape. They were made out of wax. He said, don't fly too close to the sun or else you'll heat up. Your wings will melt and you'll fall to your demise or doom or whatever. Icarus is like, righto. But of course, the temptation overtakes him, the joy of flight, whatever. He gets too close to the sun, his wings melt. A very classic parable of the pride cometh before a fall, the pain of hubris. You know, listen to your frickin' father. So one of those themes probably going to be reflected in this chapter. The world will sink under the sea. Vegapunk, what are you talking about? Everyone losing their mind. Aka Inu, an inscrutable expression. In Mocktown in Jaya, where we met Blackbeard for the first time. Decides when he dies, he's going to go throwing the world into chaos. How exactly is the entire world going to sink underwater? Okay, so skepticism. Water 7, of course. Around here we believe him, yeah. It's been sinking. It's not talking about high and low tides, is he? And then Impel Down, there's Doflamingo. I only glanced for a second. I was just curious what series he was reading, but that was enough. What if seawater floods into Impel Down? Isn't it your job to ensure the safeties of prisoners under your care, Magellan? There's Magellan. Yeah, this is the... I think I saw... I guess this page. Yeah. 1 meter rise the other day. The prison panicking. How many meters does it take to sink the entire world? Most cities in the world will be wiped out with an extra 5 meters of water. What do you think? Should we all move to much higher ground? Like the Red Line, perhaps? Even down in Fishman Kingdom, they're able to watch Vegapunk. Just sounds so absurd. Everyone pretty skeptical. Can wreak havoc on the world, even with a lie. I guess it's just so beyond belief. You know? Just like the idea that the world could be getting hotter. Until you're presented with the evidence, seems pretty far-fetched. And then you look at the evidence and you're like, oh, this actually makes perfect sense. Destroy any life form you can hear. Everything else is secondary. Speaking of the near future for me, assuming the sensors I built are functioning correctly, the days after I record this message, there should be a most remarkable earthquake that strikes the entire planet. Talking about the earthquake from today. Vegapunk's already dead. Seawater around the world should rise around 1 meter, rendering some house of prophecy. Beaches around the world will be lost for good. If I'm wrong in this prediction, feel free to disregard. Okay. We've seen a lot of people here. This is just sort of a nondescript town. This is Smoothie from Big Mom's crew. This is Mr. Tauntaun or whatever his name is from Long Ring, Long Island. Aokiji on Pirate Island. Hear my words very carefully. This particular earthquake is not exactly what I would call a natural phenomenon. Okay, meanwhile, complete chaos. They're trying to kill Nico Robin. Everyone firing off attacks How'd the Goro say? Is it enough? In my own way, I'd only ever hoped for peace. This is the root of my first sin. Chamber must not be harmed above all else. I dreamt of a source of endless eternal energy, and in my desire to push the world towards the future, I flew too close to the sun. So this is it, the mother flame. Here we see it, A and mu. I don't know what that means. Probably somebody out there has figured it out already. S108. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Mother flame. I like that it's a little nondescript. It's just this little flame. So this is the energy source that Vegapunk came up with. Unlimited eternal energy. I flew too close to the sun. Maybe literally? I don't know. There's like so many kind of analogous directions we can take this. Like this is kind of nuclear power, which of course is using the chemistry that the sun uses, nuclear fission and fusion, to create energy here on Earth by splitting the atom and fusing the atoms and what have you. So it's like... it's kind of an analogy for that too, as well. I don't know, man. There's a lot going on here. Allow me to explain. Oh, the robots going too. The robots cooking. Just what I forgot. There's so much crazy shit happening now. Can't even make that thing so much as flinch. It's huge. I didn't realize how freaking huge it is. The battleships are like nothing. The giant pirates running away from the warthog, along with Luffy. This thing spewing flames. What? I'm pressing the wrong direction. From about 900 years ago to 800 years ago, a period of a century, there is a span of history that is completely entirely blank. Oh, the world elder's freaking out. This is... He's crossing all the boundaries. We call this the Void Century because all records from that time were eliminated. The only means to know this lost piece of history. Execution is too good for him. Bring me his body. I'll mutilate the corpse. This younger celestial dragon doesn't even know about this. Just to find a message from the past in the form of poneglyphs scattered around the world. Oh, there's Jaguar T-Sol! Jaguar D-Sol with his Derishishi! Long, long ago, there was 20 kings who got together and created the world. Doesn't that man know that? Wow, this is way back. The pet food store owner, Choo Choo. And his dog Choo Choo. There's a little statue of Choo Choo. They have Choo Choo on their snail. I guess it's like a big franchise now. Oh, wait, we knew that. That was in a cover story one time. That he got his company like way off the ground. World government has made it a crime the highest order to decipher the message of the poneglyphs. And despite being a member of the government itself, I broke this law. This was my second sin. Through the sheer tenacity of a group of excellent archaeologists, I inherited some texts and a number of poneglyphs which I have deciphered and continue studying to the best of my ability. I regret none of this. Oh my god, it's all happening. It's all coming out. The deepest secrets of this entire series. Secrets that have been woven in and tantalizing and have, you know... Oh man, I'm overcome. Every time I start like going off, I think of something completely tangential. Still relating to One Piece. It's just huge. The hugeness of the series at this point. The level of fundamentalness of the secrets that they're working with here. History you see tells a story. The clouds are extending outward. Okay. Edison ran off, jumped off in order to go create more clouds. This is something that hasn't been explained at all, is the ability for the Egghead Labs to create island clouds. It's just like, oh yeah, Vegapunk has some way to do that, I'm sure. So he's got the Cloud Machine going. Get off this island, Straw Hats. Why does Edison have this accent? I don't care. Don't let the world government lay a finger on you. Yeah. Creating more clouds. In other words, what I know is an incomplete story of that 100-year void. Be dishonest to fill the banks with my own speculation, so I'll leave you only with the verified truth. Whoa. The main character of the story was born into a kingdom with an impossibly advanced civilization 900 years ago. Like the sun god Nika, spoken of in Elbaf legend, he fought with a body that stretched and contracted. His name was Joy Boy. He's the very first man on this sea to be called a pirate. Oh! Okay. This is all pretty exciting. I don't know. I don't know if I really have too much to say. I'm just kind of like overwhelmed. It's like... I've been reading this series since I was a little kid, since I was like 10. For the majority, the great majority of my life, I've been reading this series. And it's like, it's not just, oh, you know, they're finally explaining what Joy Boy is, or what the Void Century is. Which are things that, you know, have been taunting us and being hinted at since, you know, decades ago. Like, years and years and years, so long ago. It's not just that. It's also just that because they're doing this, it's like really hitting me now that One Piece is actually ending. Like, it doesn't feel real, but I can feel the truth slowly dawning on me, creeping up in the back of my mind. With every kind of major definitive revelation, every time a character like, you know, the Gorosei comes out and is fighting and losing in some cases, you know, when it's like they're playing all the cards and there's not that much left, this is what it's been building to. This is what Oda's been planning. This is the endgame he was envisioning from the start. It's like, yeah, that's it. It's actually ending. It's so crazy to me. I don't know if I'll ever really be able to fathom that it's actually ending until they make the announcement of like, oh, it's ending in 10 chapters or whatever. Until then, I don't think I'm really going to be able to comprehend it. But it's happening. Let's enjoy the ending of One Piece together. That's what we're going to do over the next few years. Okay, I'll see you in just a few days. Tomorrow, I guess. And I'll see you tomorrow when we talk about the next chapter. Bye-bye.